Hi guys, welcome to today's video for trade of the day. Now today we'll be looking at the euro yen. Now why I chose this pair is because later on today there will be a key Bank of Japan interest rate decision. That's the interest rate decision coming out from the Central Bank of Japan. And further on later in the week, right, we will also be having the Eurozone CPI and the Eurozone central bank interest rate decision. So it'll be nice to look at the euro yen. Now, with this in mind, remember that the fundamental picture was that yesterday the Bank of Japan actually announced an unlimited bond buying program. That essentially means that the central bank of Japan is committed to flooding the market with yen. So they are probably trying to devalue the yen and trying to weaken the yen to increase the country's competitiveness. Right. So with that in mind, let's look at the euro yen. Now, first off, I want to take a look at the weekly chart because the monthly chart is a bit too messy, and given the huge impact news coming out, we want to focus more on the lower time frame to really have an eye on the key levels. Right. So first off, we see that price actually made sort of a zigzag push down, one push here, up and down. So we want to look for any graphical supports. Okay, we want to look for any graphical supports in the on the weekly, right? And graphically, I see that we have sort of a support level over here, right? Of course, this is the swing low, right? Right at the bottom. So we can call this the weekly support, and we confirm this by using Fibonacci extension about the zigzag that I mentioned earlier, right? And we see that the weekly support is actually forming a very huge zone, and the correct area is actually that's close to the Fibonacci level of 61 is actually this area, right? This will be the area. So because it's a zone, let me just draw a box there to highlight it, and I will just select the 61 extension. Okay, so just remember that there's a possibility that price could push into this zone here. All right, so now that we have our weekly support, I want to look for our weekly resistance. Now we see that price pushed all the way down and is right now at this level. Okay, it's at roughly the same level. All right, so we can take a retracement of the whole move down, okay, to the lowest point. And let's open up all Fibonacci ratios. And we see that there's actually sort of a key level over here at the 38, right? The 38. So a small zone, okay, but let's just call this the weekly resistance first. Okay, so we have our weekly resistance, weekly support, and this is the 38% retracement. Okay, like I said, it looks like price can push down into this weekly support zone and then make a push up towards the weekly resistance. But because of the key announcements that are coming out this week, it's better to zoom down to the 4 hour and possibly even the 1 hour to just try to refine and have all the various scenarios in our mind. So with that, let's go down to the daily. Now on the daily, let me just tidy up this chart so it's easy for you guys to see. Okay. Okay, so we have this on the daily here. Again, I just want to tidy this up. Right, this is our daily chart, right? So what we want to do on our daily is to find the daily support and daily resistance. Now, remember I mentioned that price sort of tested this level, right? On the weekly, we saw only twice, once here and once here. However, on the daily, we see that it's actually tested that zone around 3 times. So we want to make sure that this is a key extension level or even a key support level, right? So we can take sort of a zigzag. We see that there's one zigzag here using Fibonacci extension to this point, right? And then price push up to this point, and then we want to see whether this level lines up with any Fibonacci extension level. Now the emphasis is we look at graphical first, right? Why I don't take this point but I take this point instead is because price made a push up here before going low and then coming back up. Okay, so with that, let me just use that first extension to the low and then to the high. And we see that once again, the 61.8 extension is in that area. Now, another way of doing this is we see that price made a high here, push down to this level, and then coming back up here. So we want to see how far this can go down. We can use this zigzag as well. Okay, so let's use a Fibonacci extension. Swing high to this low here and to the top here. And then we open up all ratios. It's quite close to the 61.8, but let's just open up all ratios and we see that this 61.8 actually falls in line with the 76.4. Right, so there's a graphical support level and there is also two confluences with Fibonacci ratios. So let's just put that level in. I will choose the spike here and call it the daily support. Now, why I chose the spike is because I want to give some breathing room for price to move, right? If my daily support is going to be right at the close of the candle there, and then the moment it breaks below a daily support, it may become a false signal for me to actually go short instead. Right now, we see that price actually held at this daily support zone. Let me just draw that zone out so it's easier for you guys to see. Okay, and so I'm just going to extend this further. Okay, so you see that price actually held above this zone, right? Now, and multiple times as well. So while I said the bias for the weekly could be that price could push down here, what could actually happen on the daily right now is that price made a short push up and then go back down. But again, all this is really dependent on the up and coming news. Okay, so now that we have our daily support, we want to see where the daily resistance is. Now, price made a push down. Let's take a retracement to see how far price can go. And we shall do that now. Open up all Fibonacci ratios. And we see that the clearest graphical resistance level is actually at the 76.4, right? If I were to go through one by one the levels, you see 23 has not much of any graphical resistance because price spiked around this area many times, this area as well. Okay, and then at the 38, it was whipsawed in this area, so it's not very nice, right? The only one that's really nice is the 76.4 where price tested once, twice, and a third time, boom, it goes down. Okay, so let's just select the 76.4 level. And let's call this our daily resistance. So if the law of support and resistance work, which means that at a strong support level, prices should bounce, and at a strong resistance level, prices should drop. Then if this daily support is a strong support level, price should bounce to the daily resistance before we see any further push down towards the weekly support. Now for that to happen, it will have to be pretty market moving news coming out. Okay, so now that we have our daily support, daily resistance, weekly support, weekly resistance, let's go down to the 4-hour to fine tune it. Okay, so now we have our daily support, daily resistance, weekly support, weekly resistance. I am just going to adjust this one more time. Okay, now we are on the 4 hours. Okay, just let me tidy this up. Okay, the weekly resistance, we can ignore it because it's really too far away. All right, the daily resistance, we can still leave it there because it's still quite key. Okay, But just to tidy things up, I'm just going to move the daily resistance all the way back here. Okay. So now we have the daily support, daily resistance, right? We want to see how far really on the 4 hour where prices can react to. Now we see two things. We see a sort of a push down coming back up and then a down. We can use that zigzag to find an extension to find the next key levels. And also prices actually made sort of a push down here. We want to see how far price can retrace upwards. Okay, so let's do just that. The highest point, and then we open all Fibonacci ratios. And we see once again that the 61.8 falls in line with this daily support zone. So this is really a very strong support level. Okay, so let's just highlight the 61.8. You see that 261.8 and 176.4. And let's take a retracement from this swing high to this swing low to see where prices can possibly bounce to. Okay, so what I see is that we have a strong graphical resistance here at the 50% level, right? So let me just highlight the level. I'll just highlight this 50%. It's interesting to note also, if I were to leave all the ratios open, the negative 61.8 is in line with the much longer term, the weekly 61.8 extension, which we found earlier. Okay, but for presentation purpose, I'll just highlight the 50% and I'll put a daily 4-hour resistance there. Okay, so I'll call this the 4-hour resistance. Okay, so what I'll actually do now is the trade of the day, the idea that I have, okay, will be a bullish idea, a short-term bounce. Okay, a really, really short-term one, because we have to be very cautious with the news that is up and coming. This is a slightly higher risk trade as compared to the lower risk trade. All right. So how this works will be my daily support. Okay, I will. Let me just send this. My daily support can also be my stop loss. All right. How this works. Okay, let me just change the color so it's easier to see. Okay, and my 4-hour resistance will be my first take profit. Okay, so like I said, really short-term trade, right? What I'm thinking is I can enter anywhere in this zone because this is a key area. All right, price is already in this zone. I'll play for push up towards the 4-hour resistance, and then I'll close out my position and see how else the news would react, how else price would react to the news. Now, why is my daily support my stop loss? Is because the moment price actually breaks below this level, right, I would get ready to actually enter a short and play down to the weekly support. Okay, so a lot of levels to watch out for, right? And should price actually just go straight up and break my 4-hour resistance level, I will get ready to go long and play towards my daily resistance. Okay, so short-term trade, intraday trade, trade of the day, I will have my stop loss and my daily support, and I'll just enter anywhere in this zone and play along, right? It'll be a good risk reward trade. The moment price is below the daily support, it means that my bullish idea is invalidated and I'll get ready to short all the way to weekly support. All right, this is really just taking advantage of the volatility surrounding the news that will be released later on today for Bank of Japan, and also later on in the week for the Euro Central Bank. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in to today's trade of the day. See you guys tomorrow.